What's happening, folks? Westbrook, 4-Star Sports Media. Appreciate everyone watching and listening. If you're happen to be watching right now, you see me dressed up in the Christmas Story bunny costume. It is Christmas Eve. Happy holiday season to all of you watching and listening. And if you're a fan of what you are hearing or seeing, for that matter, like, share, subscribe. Head over to 4star.live. It's where you can find all of our content that we provide for you, the fans of 4-Star Sports Media. Arkansas area, you are getting ready to hear some ads from us here in 4-Star Sports Media across the ESPN Arkansas airwaves. Um, we went by and took care of that earlier this week as we went by the studios here in Northwest Arkansas. Once again, this is Conference Crunch. It's a 4-Star Festivus. It's a special episode, Christmas Eve. Like I said, if you followed me, if you've worked with me in the past, if you know me at all, if you followed our work here at 4-Star Sports Media, you know I like to dress up. You know I enjoy the Christmas or Halloween or whatever season. I think it all started with the Blake Butler episode in the hot dog costume, is where it got all kicked off. But as it says there at the bottom of the screen for those of you watching, this is the 4-Star Festivus as we are channeling our legendary Seinfeld holiday invented by Frank Costanza. It's no tinsel, no trees, aluminum pole with a high strength to weight ratio. No decorations because tinsel is distracting. If you saw the opening little what do you call those things? Thumbnails. You saw that there. But because tinsel is distracting, let me tell you, in 2025, we had plenty of distractions across the sports world, from blown calls to blown opportunities. And tonight, we're going to deep dive into the 2025 calendar year. Keep in mind, folks, that started back last January, last year, this year, very beginning of the year. We're going to air our grievances, where we let the leagues know how we feel. We will also get into our feats of strength as we celebrate powerhouse moments throughout the year. We'll cover at least 2 gripes and 2 triumphs for each of these sports. That is NFL, NBA, NHL, college football, college basketball, NASCAR, and pro wrestling. Because as you'll hear in the ads, we cover sports from every possible. It's what we do here at 4-Star Sports Media. Appreciate everyone watching and listening. This is going to be something new we're starting. It's a 4-Star Festivus. We'll do it every year around this time of year, timed out this year that we could do it on Christmas Eve. But it's going to be a festival bash. More details, more rants, more glory. Let's get this Festivus party started up. And when we do that, I have to say, get ready, folks, because
a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
a Festivus for the rest of us, because
Happy Festivus.
Happy Festivus!
Happy Festivus. It's a Festivus miracle.
yeah, and John confirmed it did. It started with the Halloween episode. That's what I thought. I thought it started with the Halloween episode 5 years ago now. Started with that, with the Halloween episode where I was in the hot dog costume. That's what I thought. But all right, let's kick it off as we air our grievances. You know the drill from Seinfeld. At the Festivus dinner, we gather, quote, round the pole and let it rip. He said, I've got a lot of problems with you people. And oh boy, do I have some problems with 2025 sports world. We're going sport by sport. I'm not going to pull any punches. I never do. Going to go a little deeper into each of these because these issues deserve spotlight in what was an exciting 2025 year as we inch closer to a new year in 2026. Let's start with the NFL. The league is supposed to be America's pastime, but in 2025, it felt more like a circus, really. The officiating was an absolute disaster. There was blown calls left and right. Remember the controversial missed call in the Bengals-Ravens game? Had everybody screaming. Whether the refs even had their eyes open, right? But then you look at the ticket prices. This is my other grievance. Why are we paying $150, $200, $300, $400 minimum to get into these games. Why are we doing this? As we air our grievances, we start with the NFL. You've got packages, streaming packages. NFL Sunday ticket costs you $1,000 a year, seemingly. And the NFL just continues to shrug it off because they don't care. They are continuing to count their money. Then you've got Kansas City, the Chiefs, now moving across to the Kansas City, Kansas side, which, if you look at it in this realm of the world, upper Arkansas, lower Missouri, Kansas City is not too far away, roughly 3 hours away from us here I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's a big deal up there. That's a big deal. That now opens up Arrowhead Stadium for whatever's going to happen there. That we've got 5 years until the move happens. My goal, Arrowhead and Kaufman, before they move. That's my goal. But the NFL, I mean, ticket prices are absolutely ridiculous. Why do fans continue to pay and have to pay ridiculous levels of pricing? Don't get me started on concessions. Walking around with a $25 turkey leg in somebody's hand. But to me, it almost feels like the league is beginning to, or we're starting to see it on a larger level, that the league is beginning to completely get out of touch with the average fan who's trying to just enjoy the action without going broke. And you could really look at this from numerous sports, not just the NFL. You could get into really all these sports we're going to talk about tonight. But next, let's shift over to the NBA, the hardwood heroes who dazzle us with dunks, but in 2025, it really left us with more headaches, right? Grievance number one has got to be the All-Star game. That is a complete, total flop, no pun intended. But, I mean, I feel like back in the day, and I'm not trying to be that guy that's, yelling at the clouds, right? The old man. But I feel like back in the day, there was a little more pride in the game, being a part of the game. There was a little more passion. There was a little more defense played. Like, yes, they're going to be like, oh, Wes, there wasn't defense played. Yes, there was. There was defense played back in the day. But what happened to the showcase event that's supposed to celebrate the best in the league? And when I say showcase event, I'm talking about the entire week's events. From dunk contest, 3-point contest. It's unacceptable for a league that absolutely prides itself on entertainment. And then I got another grievance is, what are we doing in a world where we push gambling down people's throats? Because now with the NBA, you're seeing gambling scandals. And let's just be honest about the situation. There's been gambling going on for years. We've heard stories of Michael Jordan playing poker, right? Potentially why he had to leave the league the first time in the 90s. But you've now had 6 players banned from schools on the NCAA side of it, but it's spilling over into the pro level. And it's really raising a lot of questions for me anyway about integrity of the game. We've always kind of heard whispers of point shaving, right? Insider bets, referees, doing things that are unethical. But now you get into, hey, these guys are giving out information for prop bets. Then these apps are getting involved. I mean, honestly, it's really a black eye for the league. And it's a league that if it doesn't get this under control, it's going to start to lose fans quickly because they're just going to doubt every single finish to a game. But I mentioned that it's kind of crept into the NCAA as well, as you had 6 players suspended from 3 schools. But you got to get a hold of it at the college level too. And I mean, we saw Greg Sankey be very open, very transparent about what he felt like it was going to do at the college level, as far as prop betting, things of that nature, and allowing college athletics to bet on pro sports. But I mean, at the end of the day, especially in 2025, there's grievances with all these, right? We've gone through the NFL, we've gone through the NBA. We're about to head over and put our skates on and skate across the NHL. Y'all know I have a hockey obsession. I love it. 2025 had me slipping on thin ice with the frustrations all the way across. We talked about inconsistencies, right? Officiating is where I really have a lot of inconsistencies with the NHL. You look at last year's teams like the Oilers and the Panthers were in complete uproar, but you've got goals waved off, hits that are ignored that completely change series. You got people getting injured. There's no penalties being called. But the inconsistency with the officiating, not just in the NHL, but really the NFL as well, it's got to be taken care of. And really, you can talk about it on a college level as well, but you've got to get it fixed. Got to get it fixed. Then the other thing is the Winter Olympics. When I think back to the NHL, when I think back to the Olympics, I immediately go to NHL players playing for their respective uh, nations, right? But the NHL seems to have come out and put a little bit of a stern wording or warning out saying, hey, you guys got to side with us. As far as global growth for the league, as far as just a international appeal, you've got to have your players back when it comes to the Winter Olympics because at the end of the day, the Winter Olympics is bigger than the NHL. And if you're the NHL, come on, you got to take care of your people. These people that are going to play for their nations are putting millions of dollars in the pockets of the owners, their own pockets, the league itself, the cities, their hotel tax, their tourism tax, all these different taxes that all these cities have with sporting events and teams. It's all revenue being pushed in. You have to have these guys back. You have to. You have to.
A new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. All right, let's go over to college football. Where do I even begin? Oh, let's start with the college football playoff. Okay, this was supposed to be a complete game changer. We had it at 4 teams. That wasn't good enough because the fifth team was pissed off. The sixth team was mad. I won't even say the next number because it'll, get crazy. So then we expanded to 12. We've only had it at 12. This is the second season of this second iteration of the college football playoff. And it's turned into complete just craziness. People are mad because there's 2 group of 5 programs in. Well, I'll start by saying this. Anyone mad that they're James Madison and Tulane made the college football playoff. They won their conference championship. So they checked the box of the CFP protocol, by the way, of a conference champion. Okay. Then the second part of that is the highest ranked conference champion. Okay. We look across the league, right? Alabama or Georgia won, right? Texas Tech won. Indiana won. Oh, wait, okay. Power 4. Wait, ACC. Oh, Duke won. Well, Tulane won the American. Tulane beat Duke head to head. One of Duke's losses on the season came to the American champion. So you can't put Duke in ahead of Tulane. Identical records. Head to head wins didn't matter till the very end. But this is where my frustration with this whole thing comes in. And I made a statement a few days ago that I had a lot to say. Um, and here we go. It's ridiculous, man. Like there's no that we should have, and even as media who is in on these calls, I sit in on these calls, not in this exact outfit, right? But I do. I sit in on these calls. We ask questions as well when we are called on. We sit in on the calls with the CFP media. We talked to Hunter Yurachek this year. We talked to Mac Rhodes before Mac Rhodes had to step down. Danced around Miami, North Carolina, Miami, Notre Dame all year long. Talked about how the Florida State loss hurt Alabama. That's a bad loss for Bama. And how the Bama had to come, had a great win on the road at Auburn. Come from behind, fourth down play. We're talking about specific plays. Yeah, Miami and they're not in the same pool. Or pod is actually the word he used. Hunter Yurchek used the word pod, then turned around and got onto a media member for using the word pod. Well, sorry, Hunter, we're using your word. 6-7. It's a 4-star Festivus, by the way, right here at 4-Star Sports Media. Wes Pruitt, your host, special edition of the Sports Buffet. Appreciate everyone watching and listening. If you enjoy what you're watching and hearing, like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You know a friend that's pretty good at sports media, and then let me know who that friend is because I want to get him on air because I like to have people that are knowledgeable of sports media on our air. College football grievances. The college football playoff committee is my number one grievance. There's no reason that out of the 13 people on the committee, 6 of these people are acting athletic directors. Zero reason for that. None. Get them off. Get them out. They have more important things to do. Like, run their athletic department for their prospective schools that are paying them to do that. Not walk in, take a hat off, hang it on a rack and say, oh, I took my school hat off to come and be part of the committee. No, you didn't. Speaking of the committee, going a little deeper into this, and I haven't got to my second grievance yet, but going a little deeper into this, the committee ignoring strength of schedule, completely favoring big brands, leaving deserving squads, even though I don't really like the word deserving, squads in the cold. It creates chaos, but if you're a group of 5 team, I don't care what anybody tells me about the ratings. You also had the NFL on that night. Let's not forget about that. Well, everybody wants to bash James Madison and bash Tulane. But guess what? Those 2 teams had an opportunity to compete for a national championship, meaning they made the playoff. Let's not freaking be weird and be like, oh my God, Webster, they could play. They were in the playoff. They were only one of 12 teams across college football that made the playoff. Which takes me to my second grievance with college football. I love the Kurt Signetti story at Indiana. He's an incredible football coach, turning around Indiana, who was his story is the historically worst team in college football. They're the worst program in all of college football historically. Is Indiana. To turn them around in 2 seasons, it's phenomenal. It's almost a Christmas miracle. And you're going to hear about this again. But I bring that up to say this: the success of Indiana, I believe, is causing a false narrative around the country that they can go recreate that. In the latest coaching search, in the latest coaching cycle, you heard that in a lot of the coaching searches. Where is the next Kurt Signetti? Will this team be able to find the next Kurt Signetti? We've got to be very careful there. Just because one person can do it does not mean that it can just continually be done across the country by everyone. And with that, we've got to understand, and when I say we, I'm talking fans of college football, fans of these programs across the country. We've got to tailor our expectations. This is a real grievance of mine. It's something that really frustrated me, and this is part of the reason I like doing this little Festivus deal. Let's tailor our expectations a little bit for some of these programs. Why are we, oh, we didn't make the college football playoff. He needs to be fired. What are you talking about? Bowl games are not meaningless, people. If they're meaningless, go back and watch that Ohio. Go back and watch that New Orleans Bowl last night between Southern Miss and Ohio. Go back and watch other bowl games that have been. Go watch the game on right now, the Hawaii Bowl between Cal and Hawaii. Don't tell the fans that are in attendance that bowl game is meaningless, because they will tell you that's a lie. What you mean to say is this: in your opinion, bowl games are meaningless. That doesn't mean that your opinion is correct. And yes, you can say, oh, well, Wes, that doesn't mean your opinion is correct. Correct. It doesn't, in your opinion. But I can tell you, based on numerous conversations that I have had with Division I college football coaches, people across media, all across the country, at different levels of media, and fans across college football, bowl games are not meaningless. And my last one, because I threw an extra one in on college football. It's got to be not just the Michigan Wolverines, but Ward Manuel and how this has been handled by him. We talked about it a while back. John Servant joined me on the show. The complete blunders that have happened under Ward Manuel, just the complete mismanagement of the athletic department under Ward Manuel at the University of Michigan, which let's not get amnesia. It's one of the top public universities across the country. But Ward Manuel, Michigan is probably getting ready to hire Biff Poggi. If you don't know who Biff Poggi is, this is not a Kurt Signetti joke. You can Google him, and he will be able, and it will tell you who he is. I will tell you this: Biff Poggi is a really good football coach. Biff Poggi, yes, I understand he was fired at Charlotte. Go look at the resources. Go look at the battle he was fighting. Go look at the roster he took over. But you can also go back and look. Biff Poggi started a high school program in the Baltimore, Maryland area. Because of this, he brought in guys like Blake Corum and others. Brother Harbaugh, coach of Baltimore, the Ravens, John contacted Jim, said, hey, you got to reach out to this guy. All of a sudden, Biff comes on. What does Biff do? Biff brings love to the program. It's why right now Biff Poggi has a real chance to be the next head football coach at the University of Michigan, because he has brought love into the program. He said recently in an interview, hey, I've had to love on these guys. These guys feel betrayed. It's going to be really interesting to see. You got Michigan and Texas coming up in a bowl game. Very wild to see what will transpire out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. All right, let's head over to college basketball as I got a couple of grievances here. And the first one is I talked about it a minute ago, gambling. What are we doing right now? It was just a scandal ridden mess. It's been going back for a while. You had Arizona, you've had LSU, you've had others that have gotten in trouble with gambling investigations, but it is now a complete tie on not just the NBA, as I spoke about a minute ago, but also college basketball. What are we doing? You got players trying to fix games. It leaves programs in complete shambles. Fans really don't trust anything anyway, but fans are just emotional wrecks because their team won the game, but the guy that they put $50 on to score 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists was 1 assist short, and their prop bet didn't hit. So then fans are pissed off. Then fans are going after the player because their money didn't hit. Because their personal issue becomes that player's issue. And before you come up and go, hey, Wes, these guys are being paid, the college players being paid. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that just because that player's being paid that he has to hit your damn bet. It's not the player's job. The player's doing his job. The team won the game. But it's muddying the waters, and it's really almost ruining another great sport of this country. But the gambling, you got to get it under control. But like I talked about earlier, from a fan tailoring expectations, you've got to tailor that too, okay? There's no need in attacking a player because that player did not hit your specific bet. But the problem is, because of the gambling infractions, no one really knows. Did the player really not hit the bet, or did the player purposely not hit the bet? That's when I say it's muddying the waters because fans are having problems trusting the outcome of the games. The second thing is the rules. We're constantly changing stuff. We're adding confusion. There's new review protocols. There's tweaks to foul calls. Flagrants are not quite the same. Plus, we're talking about potentially expanding the tournament, which is just an astronomical idea. But it really stems back to the NCAA. Like, what are we doing? We need a better framework, but how do we get that? And then once we get that, how do we implement that to where it can be really enforced? But the halted games, coaches frustrated on the sidelines, coaches like, Hurley out there just berating officials. But there's key moments in NCAA tournaments where games are being halted and games are being stopped to look at things that shouldn't be looked at, and or to not look at things that should be looked at. But like I said, we got to have a better framework, and I'll be honest with you, NCAA, this is not it. All right, let's take a couple of laps real quick over in the NASCAR world. And let's start with number one. So, controversial rule updates. Like, for example, the OEP changing just 4 races in. It's complete. It sparked backlash across fans, teams, everything. massive wrecks. I mean, there's big wrecks and like stuff in Talladega, stuff like that. Now, Daytona, things like that. But the safety is where NASCAR's really got to make sure they keep this thing fenced in. Because it's not just the safety of the drivers, it's the safety of the fans and attendants inside these coliseums, essentially, is what they are. But then you look at NASCAR, you've got a whole lawsuit going on right now. And it doesn't look good. If you're NASCAR right now, I talked earlier about the ticket prices. You can't do what every other sport has been doing recently, and I'm going to talk about another one in pro wrestling that does it too. It's you continue to jack these prices up, and yes, I understand fans are partly to blame because they're continuing to pay it, so the prices are going to continue to go up. But eventually, you're going to price out the average fan. You're going to price out the average family, and you're going to price out the people that have been going to these events like NASCAR and any other sport we discussed tonight for years and years and years on end, and they've made it part of a family atmosphere, a family tradition to do that, but now they can't afford it. Then with NASCAR, you take into the new playoff format, which I don't have a super big problem with it. You're kind of taking a lot of some of the skill out of it and kind of giving drivers just a system to kind of work versus get behind the wheel and drive your way to a championship. You had a disastrous championship 4 weekend. But it's got to become eradicated because it's exposing how one bad race can erase an entire season of work. And at times, you could almost hear fans booing louder than engines at NASCAR races. And it's NASCAR, I understand they want to go fast. I get it. I think in this instance, they've got to slow down a little bit and just kind of think. They've got to think about their fan. And that goes with, I talked about just a second ago, it goes with all these fans, it's all these sports. As we're airing grievances to begin the 4-star Festivus right here on Sports Buffet. By the way, Mobile, Alabama, get ready. 4-star Sports Media is heading your way. We're going down to the Panini Senior Bowl coming up at the end of next month, January. It's the last week of January 26th, January 31st. But stay tuned. We'll have much more. We've got coverage on Arkansas players, kids from Memphis as well as some national players. But we'll be down there all week broadcasting live after practices, live after the game, and before the game. Plus, we'll have interviews, uh, articles, podcasts, and more. It's going to be another jam-packed week live right there, Mobile, Alabama, from the 2026 Panini Senior Bowl. 4-star Sports Media will be there, and we want to take you with us. So stay tuned for more on that. Let's jump over to pro wrestling as we're airing grievances tonight on the 4-star Festivus. Merry Christmas Eve to everyone out there who is watching or listening. We appreciate your eyes and ears as you may be wrapping gifts, or you may be you may have this on your big screen and be laughing at me because I'm dressed in the Christmas Story pink bunny outfit. Let's go over to pro wrestling. It's been a square circle of really drama. 2025 has been very, very interesting. Let's start with grievance number one. Now, keep in mind, this is 2025 as a whole, right? So in 2024, we saw the announcement of John Cena that John Cena, excuse me, was going to retire, and he would retire just a few weeks back, at the end of December of 2025. We saw during the, I believe it was Survivor Series, but we saw a John Cena quote unquote heel turn attempt, which involved The Rock, Travis Scott, and others. My first grievance starts there. I understand, hey, you're trying to create a little buzz for the pay per view PLE, whatever you call it now. And I mean, really, and when you go back and you listen to the some of the interviews during his heel run, you heard Cena talk about how he wanted to ruin wrestling. If you go back and watch some of those matches, he's ruining wrestling by taking away some of the spots that fans would cheer for. I don't know if you really. I mean, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. I'm 40 years old. I've been watching wrestling for at least 30 years that I can remember. That's what Cena did. That's how Cena was ruining wrestling. He was going through and taking away the excitement, the energy. You're watching a match. You see, oh, that happens. That happens. This is next. That happens. Oh, where was that? Oh, wait, that didn't happen either. Oh, well, that wasn't fun. That was the whole point. But when you look at the way it really took place at WrestleMania 41, you saw Travis Scott get involved. You saw a punch on Cody that was just nasty. But you saw little nuggets. You know, The Rock counting to 3. Where I'm so glad he taught us how to do that like a year ago. But where did it go? Where is the ending? And we haven't seen it. Cena's gone. Cena's had his last match now. Where is it? The Rock's gone. Rock's been gone for a while. As we know, by the end of the run, Cena completely flipped around and said, hey, haha, that didn't work. But why? That was just a big, like, soap opera, huge deal. And I get it. It brought eyes on the company. It put eyes on him and immediately got people talking, right? That's what Vince McMahon was so good at. Let's not get me started. Vince was a genius in wrestling. Vince knew how to garner attention for his company. He understood how that worked. But this didn't work. The heel turn did not work. So that's my grievance number 1. Grievance number 2 is a lot of the fans, speaking of Cena, and it's kind of puts me into grievance number 2. A lot of the fans didn't understand why John Cena tapped out. If you watch the match, there was a little smile. There was a little smirk right before he did it. That was his way of saying thank you. But he ran a career for over 20 years on hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up. Of course he was going to go out that way. But once again, I talk about fans tailoring expectations, fans maybe calming down, relaxing, chill pill, whatever you want to call it. To completely go after Triple H and attack him like they did. And now there's rumors that Triple H is going to step down and all this other just nonsense. And rumors that Vince McMahon is allegedly influencing decisions from afar through Triple H. Let's just, can we calm down a little bit? Can we do that? All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking feats of strength as we put a little bit more of a happier spin on on the sports buffet. As we're talking 4-star Festivus. Sorry, I am looking for my music. I found it. All right, 4-star Festivus right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network.
Happy Festivus!
Happy Festivus!
Happy Festivus! It's a Festivus miracle!
It's a Festivus miracle. Welcome back to the Sports Buffet. It's a four-star Festivus right here. Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2025. Special episode. We appreciate everyone watching. Listen, we've been rocking at this thing for about 40 minutes. We got roughly 20 minutes left or so. But welcome back to the show. Is now we went over our grievances. We feel better, don't we? Well, kind of, not really all the way, but maybe there's more grievances to be aired later on. I don't know. But now let's get into a little more positive. Let's talk about some feats of strength. It's time to wrestle with the head of the household, but we're grappling with epic victories and unbelievable moments of 2025. But no one pins me until Festivus ends. All right, let's expand over to the triumphs. Let's start with the NFL. And I have to go with a very recent story with my first feat of strength, and that's 44-year-old Philip Rivers stepping back in as the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. And if you watch the game Monday night, badass helmets. I love the black helmets from the Indianapolis Colts. But you saw Philip Rivers. He was mic'd up. Love listening to the old cowboy slinger talk a little bit of smack while playing the game. But to see him after the game, player's name slips my mind. I apologize. He waited on the defensive player who caught the pick six on him. He waited on him after the game to give him love, give him some respect, give him a little dap. And I thought that was something that the rest of the league really needs to take note of. And it's my first number one strength of feet for the NFL. Strength of feet number two for the NFL, I have to say, is this off-season triumphs that ended up paying off. Okay, we talked about Philip Rivers and the Colts, but really before that, we saw the Colts bring in Daniel Jones in a very pretty savvy deal. But that move really paid off for the Indianapolis Colts. He lit up defenses early, but moreover, a storyline like the Packers and Cowboys trading for Micah Parsons, which really, I think, ignited both the rivalry between those two organizations, but also it shot fireworks across the league that said, hey, these top level defensive guys and offensive for that matter, but these top level defensive players can move. They've got freedom, even though we really don't. I mean, come on. I didn't expect to see Micah go to Green Bay. I talked to some people who are connected to Dallas who are really inundated in that organization, and they told me, hey, this thing really does have legs on it. So once they told me that, I trusted their word. I trust them as a valid source. But I just didn't see it happening. I didn't think Jerry would pull the trigger. Jerry Jones is, I'll be honest with you, he's an old geezer who's pissed off at the world. He is the old dad in The Simpsons, Homer's dad, just yelling at everything. That's Jerry Jones. But when you make stupid comments like there's only room for two people in the negotiation and it's me and the player, that's you come on now. You're out of touch. You're out of touch. So but the NFL, that's my two feats of strength. Number one, got to be Philip Rivers. Really got to be how he came back 44 years old. Really, it's motivating for a 40-year-old like myself. All right, let's jump over to the NBA. A couple of them here. Yeah, I mean, y'all know I follow the NBA. I'm not a massive NBA fan like other sports on this list, but I've got to go with a couple. Okay, multiple games with wild buzzer beaters, overtime thrillers, and heated rivalries exploding um, that happened earlier in the year. It was just a couple months back in November. You saw teams go crazy, but one of those teams is the Oklahoma City Thunder. The record slips me at the moment. For a while, I believe they're like 34-2 for a while. Incredible, talented team. They're running through the league right now. I'm really interested to see how they can continue up. But then Christmas Day tomorrow, I want to see how Wemby does against them. That Spurs and Thunder matchup tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting to me. And y'all know I'm not the biggest NBA guy in the world. That game tomorrow has my attention because it takes me to my bonus point or my kind of point A, one A is Wimby. I love Wimby. I think Wimby's a great strength for the NBA. I think when you listen to him on the microphone, the kid's mature as hell. He's smart. He understands he is an attraction. He understands who he is and what he is to the NBA. And I think it's something that the NBA really needs to hone in on because I think he is someone who is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then strength number two, man. Y'all know I like wrestling. Okay, every sport needs a heel. Okay, every sport needs one, and the NBA has one, and he's playing tomorrow. Dylan Brooks, folks. This man has been on LeBron James like back pockets since he's been in the league. He's always in his face. He's never been intimidated by the man. And tomorrow we get to watch him, and I'm excited. It's a strength of the league. I think Dylan Brooks needs to be pushed as a Bane type character, as a I mean, crap, put Papa Shango stuff on him. You know what I'm saying? Like Boogeyman, whatever. You can go WWE with it. That's fine. He's a wrestling fan anyway. I've seen him at wrestling events that have been televised. But make him the face of the league as a heel. He is a strength of the NBA. I love it. I love Dylan Brooks. Love everything about the guy. Make him a face of the league as a heel today. It's a strength, no question. All right, let's skate over to the NHL right quick as we've got roughly 12 minutes left in the show. Definitely strengths of the year. Got to talk about Florida Panthers, man. Florida Panthers, again, another championship. Another one. Overtime heroics. Goals from Matthew Tkachuk. A thriller series that went down to 7 games. That has got to be my number one feat of strength for the NHL was for the year was the Florida Panthers. Now, of course, we've got another season, right, going on now, but Florida Panthers for sure. And then the other one is this. You look at Alex Ovechkin. I mean, obviously, Mr. 1000, incredible all-time goals scorer record. He's breaking barriers, been doing it for a long time. He's also, what he's doing is he's inspiring a new generation of snipers. In my time, it was guys like Brett Hull, guys like Al McGinnis, keep people like that, guys that played, all the Russians, that entire Russian lineup that played for the Red Wings back in the day, for Scotty Bowman. Those guys, we need more of that in the NHL. The NHL has a real possibility, if they pay attention, a real possibility if they don't screw it up by jacking around on their players with the Winter Olympics. But the NHL has a real opportunity to play to its strengths. One of those strengths is a guy like Alex Ovechkin, who's been around for a long time, massive star across the world. Push him. Push him. No question. All right, let's go over to college football real quick, as I've got some, man, I mean, major grievances there. We talked about that, right? But I do want to talk about the excitement of the college football players. If it did keep us, it's kept us glued so far. Fight, games that maybe some may not have enjoyed. But I want to go back. I want to talk about a strength. I talked about the group of five and how fans and people may have pushed a narrative, but I want to talk about a strength. The strength is the group of five. When you look at the game, the college football, the game of college football, there's no point. All these people talk about, oh, the group of five need their own playoff system. Why? Why do they? If you're going to keep on continuing the playoff, and trust me, folks, that's coming. That's why they extended the date out. The date was December 1st, by the way. It's now moved to next month into January. The reason being is because they wanted to make sure they could get the expansion done. I assume, and I've talked to people around the country, but I'm assuming it's going to go to 16. With that 16, what I would do is I would include at least one more group of five team into the playoff bracket, because with this 16, it's going to bring automatic bid. Fine. That's great. Whatever. But what I enjoyed seeing and what I think is a strength is a team James Madison. Go back and look at how they played that game. Yes, they were down 35-6. I understand that. But They also threw what, two pick sixes. The defense scored, I believe, 14 of those 30 something points also. So let's not just sit back and act like the offense just absolutely obliterated James Madison to start that game. There was some defensive things. James Madison had some self-inflicting wounds as well. Let's not sit here and just act like we don't know college football. I mean, we all watched the game, folks. Yes, it got ugly early, but let's not forget James Madison was pulling out all the tricks in the book. Fake punt, really, really incredible drawing up backyard football type plays. But that second half, and I don't care what anybody says about it, was garbage time. There's no garbage time in college football. Unless it's a complete blowout. Yes, it was 34-6, whatever halftime. James Madison put over 500 points, scored the most points on Oregon that they have had scored on them all season, folks. And it put a little smidge of doubt into the brain of the Oregon Ducks. Now Oregon has to go and really be a favorite against Texas Tech. It's going to be very interesting. Texas Tech's a team that, if you listen to us back in June and July and early part of August, we told you then keep an eye on this Texas Tech team under Joey McGuire. Joey McGuire, number one, incredible high school football coach, understands the importance of high school recruiting, understands the importance of Texas, understands the importance of development. More importantly than that, Joey McGuire understands the importance of, hey, this is the world of NIL. We got to buy in now. That's what Texas Tech did. They did it with what? Oil money, baby. That's what they did it with. They went back and called the Beverly Hillbillies and hit that oil. That's what they did. They struck oil, and now look at them now. We're a top 4 team in the country, had a bye. Now they got Oregon coming to town, or actually they go play Oregon. But big time ball game, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But that's my strength. The first games got us excited for the second round games. Now, the second round games will get us excited for the third round games. And then hopefully we should be excited about a national champion. But let's not. So many people were like, oh, these Power 5 teams. Oh my gosh. Look, folks, there's been blowouts all across the playoff systems. So let's not forget about that. But let's also not forget about teams like that kind of disappointed at the beginning, right? What about Kansas State, for example? Okay. What about a Penn State, for example? Fired James Franklin and ended up making a bowl game. Southern Miss, right? Charles Huff now at Memphis, but still, Southern Miss. 1-11 to play the bowl game. Yes, they got beat. I understand that, but play the bowl game. You look across college football, there's storylines to get excited for. There's feats of strength all across college football. And then you look at it from a college basketball perspective, which you can continue feats of strength right here on 4-Star Sports Media Network, special edition of Sports Buffet. It's the 4-Star Festivus, by the way. College basketball, got to go with Florida. But I want to talk about this from a SEC perspective, because really you look at the SEC last year, and I don't think it's going to be like this year, but last year you look at the SEC, you had Florida, you had Auburn, you had Alabama playing well, you had Tennessee playing well, you had Arkansas with a kind of a reemergence, a resurgence of Arkansas. And then you look at the NCAA tournament, and you look at how the SEC as a conference did. Arkansas, once again, Arkansas and St. John's was a battle. Arkansas and Texas Tech was a battle. We saw another one of those two teams recently. If you look across college basketball, number one got to be Florida. Big time win for a national title. Buzzer beaters, defensive stands, clutch free throws. It was March Madness all the way across. March Madness what it was. But then across that, number two, we saw major upsets along the way. Right? Arkansas knocking off St. John's. Talked about that a minute ago. Florida threes, fast break, chaos, magic. It reminded us why we love the tournament as much as we do. And earlier I talked about NASCAR. I talked about how NASCAR needs to understand their fans, right? I also mentioned when I talked about the NBA, talked about how every sport has a heel. NASCAR needs to lock into their heel. Who is their heel? Probably Denny Hamlin. You need to lock into him. But you also see a guy like Kyle Busch, real resurgence under him. Really tough stretch. He started out slow, really dominant, strong in the end of the season for sure, and really used a lot of his veteran savviness throughout the year. Now we did just lose Greg Biffle, incredible race car driver. Prayers to his family and friends for, I mean, just incredibly tragic. But through that loss, my strength number two is I think the NASCAR family as a whole, I think it's going to become stronger because of that. And hopefully, we'll continue to see incredible finishes, incredible photo finishes, lap records possibly be shattered down the road. Maybe the hybrid car evolution can have some success and get fans back on the edge of their seats. I talked earlier about how the NASCAR was on the potential of losing some of their fans, partly because of their ticketing, but a lot of it because of rules, confusion, things like that. They can get back into the brands, the drivers, the heels, the storylines. The hey, these two guys been bickering, they've been bumping each other back and forth last few races. What's going to happen? Not NASCAR coming out going, hey, you guys are fine. Let them race a little bit. Let them race a little bit. All right. And then the last one, pro wrestling. Man, this is tough. So, of course, there's AEW, there's WWE, there's TNA, there's numerous forms of wrestling, right? I got to go with probably first off the Netflix era. I got to start there. Okay. With WWE, I got to start with the Netflix era. It started back in January 2nd, 4th, whatever it was. One of those was the very beginning of John Cena, right? We talked about Cena earlier. I talked about a strength. A strength was tying Netflix to Cena and pushing him during this opening of them being on Netflix was very smart for WWE as far as establishing a a revisiting, a reoccurring audience to your Netflix. Because I'll be honest with you, as a fan of professional wrestling for a long time and someone who watched WWE for a long time on TV, Dave LaGreca says this all the time. It's very hard to remember to go to Netflix to watch WWE Monday Night Raw. The reason I say WWE's done a really good job of utilizing John Cena throughout this year, now he's gone, right? But it's continual, right? Pumping. John Cena is going to be on Raw. John Cena is going to be on Raw. John Cena is going to be here. It keeps the mind going, oh, yeah, I got to go watch that Monday night Netflix. I got to go watch that Monday night Netflix. Now, I can't say anything. My ass every week goes to USA or whatever. And I'm like, oh, crap, it's on Netflix. And I go to it. I do the same thing every week. But the way they've used Netflix, the way they've started the Netflix era, they can go as long as they want on Netflix. So if they want to cut it a little short, they can. If they want to go a little long, they can. It can be a little edgier. I thoroughly enjoy the Netflix era so far on WWE. And through that Netflix era, I really enjoy the Vision. I really enjoy the Vision storyline. I like Seth Rollins. The whole Seth Rollins was injured, throw the crutch. That was an epic storyline, one that had me fooled, honestly. But then you take Braun Breaker. I think he is I know he's the future of WWE, as well as a guy like Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's got a real humor to him. He's Australian. He may speak a little different. So does Rhea Ripley. She's also Australian. Find ways to keep those guys. Both of those guys can be heels or faces, even though I really just like Breaker. I'm sorry, well, really, um, I like both those guys as heels. Both Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, I think, has this humor about him. He's got this kind of likability about him, but from a heel perspective, from being an asshole, being a jerk. Paul, of course, you put Paul Heyman with those guys, and the storyline's going to be good every time. But going to be so great about these storylines is that because Paul Heyman is in, you've got to pay attention to every single thing. Because Paul will sprinkle you a little bit of something here, and then a month he'll hit you with a big thing, and you'll go, oh, that's what that was a month ago. That's what that was. It's why I like Paul Heyman involved with the vision. It's why I like Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins involved with the vision. I also like how they built it all. How we all thought Paul was going to screw CM Punk. He did screw CM Punk. He also screwed Roman Reigns. He sided with Seth Rollins. Now Seth Rollins potentially gone from the vision. You've got Brock Lesnar back. You've got Jake Paul now with the vision. What's going to happen when Seth Rollins comes back? This is why I say the vision is one of the best storylines in all of wrestling this year. And then I got to go. So I got to go AEW. And when I say that, I got to go Hangman Page, okay? I think Hangman Page, yes, he took the title off Jon Moxley. I wish, and I put it out in article form as well. I put it out before he won the title because it was kind of an opinionated article, but I thought it was time for AEW to push Hangman Page in the way he deserved to be pushed, which is give him the title and give him a good run with the championship. Now we know now Samoa Joe is the champion. Fine, right? Samoa Joe makes a great champion. Hangman Adam Page is still involved in all of it. Now you've got Swerve Strickland involved. You've got MJF, returning MJF. He's now back. He was gone. Now he's back. But AEW, I think, did a really good job with Hangman Page because he's that homegrown talent. He's that guy he's a pillar. You know, MJF talks all the time about it, one of the pillars. He and MJF are both those pillars of the company that you can continue to put a rocket on. You can continue to just have them go strap their boots up and go make the move for the company. And I think with AEW, they've done a really good job of using crossovers, of using stadiums, of using a little more blood. I think the blood and guts match from AEW stands out to me as their best match of the year. Why? It was blood. It was guts. You told me what it was and you gave it to me. And you didn't just give me a little bit of it. You didn't just give it to me for a little bit. You gave it full-fledged, 100%. That image of Sky Blue as her face is just gushing blood. That's what makes AEW what it is. The wrestling community, the wrestling universe wanted a alternative. They have it. And it's in AEW. It's in AEW. Well, there you have it, folks. Sports Buffet, an extended Festivus Miracles, right? Surviving 2025 roller coaster with a passion for the game, stronger than ever. No wrestling today for me, but Festivus is for the rest of us, folks. Thank you for joining a supersized episode of Sports Buffet. Happy holidays, or as Frank Costanza, hello, Festivus for the rest of us. Next time, keep it energetic, keep it real, keep it classy. And folks, once again, from all of us here at 4-Star Sports Media, we want to wish you all a happy holiday, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and most of all, folks, be safe, love on your loved ones, have a good evening, put your cookies and milk out for Santa too. Have a good one, folks.
Happy Festivus!
Happy Festivus!
Happy Festivus! It's a Festivus miracle!